What's happening around the world and what's happening here at home? A very good evening to and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandra Ferdinando.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. We start off by taking a look at your headlines for tonight.
Minister Keheliya Rambukwella survives no confidence motion.
මහනුවර ජනතාවට උද්දච්ච වෙන්න එපා පලා යන්න එපා
දවස් තුනක් කතා කරලා මොන බම්බුවක් ගන්නවද වාඩි වෙන්න බම්බුව මගුලන්ද මේ තච්ච ගහන්න ඕන කරයන්.
Parliament to debate Easter Sunday attacks and national security for 2 days. President appoints Defence Review Committee. Sri Lanka Freedom Party crisis goes to court. Colombo court says appointment of Sarath Ekanayake was wrong but will not suspend the decision to remove Dayasiri. 10th edition of the Rugby World Cup to get underway as host France faces New Zealand.
First up in news here at home, Sri Lanka's Health Minister Keheliya Rambukwella survived a no-confidence motion in Parliament today.
සභාව එකඟද ඔව් නිස්සද්ද වෙන්න
The no confidence motion against Health Minister Keheliya Rambukwella was defeated by a majority vote. 73 MPs voted in favour of the motion and 113 MPs voted against it. Accordingly, the no confidence motion against the Health Minister was defeated by a majority of 40 votes. Notably, 38 legislators were not present in Parliament during the vote. The Samagi Jana Balawegaya moved the no confidence motion against Keheliya Rambukwella over the alleged irresponsible importation of substandard medicines and surgical equipment which led to a weakened health sector and even deaths. The Jatika Jana Balawegaya, Tamil National Alliance, Freedom People's Congress, the Uttara Lanka Sabhagaya and Tamil National People's Front voted in favour of the no confidence motion.
එරෙහි විශ්වාස මංගත්තේ පිළිබඳ යෝජනාවට පක්ෂව ඡන්ද 73ක්ද විරුද්ධව ඡන්ද 113ක්ද ලැබී ඇත. ඒ අනුව විශ්වාස මංග යෝජනාව සම්මත වී නොමැත.
When the world was researching vaccines to counter the coronavirus, what did the Sri Lankan Health Minister do? That Health Minister was more involved in tonics. I am not aware if the Deputy Speaker also consumed those tonics. However, the Speaker consumed it. That Health Minister even dropped pots into the river. Then President Gotabaya Rajapaksa appointed Keheliya Rambukwella when people started dying due to the delay of the then Health Minister to import the vaccines. We recall how you were injured while serving as a minister. You were overseas and met with an accident and your leg was injured. Your life was not threatened and you were not paralyzed. Why? Because you could access the best medication in the world. You were given funds from the Presidential Fund. The airline funded you. The insurance company funded you. I am not jealous of that. How would you feel when a family member meets with an accident? What if substandard medicine was used? As a result of your failures and your dealings, I raise an allegation. The country is facing a serious economic, political and social crisis. The government is unstable. Therefore, apart from the Health Minister, all state enterprises, statutory bodies and departments have become unstable. The officials have reached a level where they do not listen to the minister. This is because the government is unstable.
When a death takes place, the health minister says that is faith. And that is why there are florists opposite the hospitals. Do we need a health minister to say such things? The chairman of the NMRA speaks of ancient tales. Do we need an NMRA chairman for that?
You protected the funeral parlour instead of the health minister. In addition to Minister Keheliya Rambukwella, will every other MPs who vote to defeat the no confidence motion claim responsibility for the deaths in their villages? That would be the result of the import of substandard medicine. The locals must question their representatives over this.
ඒ වගකීම බාර ගන්න ඕන කියන පණිවිඩය දෙනවා විතරක් නෙවෙයි ජනතාවට කියනවා සූදානම් වෙලා ඉන්න තමුන්නාසලා ගමේ බහල බෙහෙත් අරගෙන කවුරු හරි මැරුණොත් තමුන්නාසලා ගමේ ඉන්න මන්ත්‍රීවරයාගේ ගේ ළඟට ගිහිල්ලා ඒ මන්ත්‍රීවරයා අරගෙන අහන්න මේ සියලු වැඩිකාරෝ වග කියන අය කියන එක අහන්න එතනින් බේර ගන්න කියලා අපි ජනතාවගෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා මම හෙට චීනීවානුවරට මානව
I will head on to the UN Human Rights Council and report this to them. I will ask them to release more funds and to add more pressure on the government against this corrupt ring in the health sector. Do not show your ego to the people of Kandy. We will work against corrupt dealings. How will the people who lost their sight recover?
දූෂිත ගනුදෙනුවට එරෙහිව වයිම එක්ක වුණා
මන්තුමා අවසන් කරන්න ඔබතුමා කාලය අවසానයි
දැස් අන්ධ කරපු මිනිස්සුන්ට දැස් දෙන්නේ එමතුමනි දෙයියන්ද කියලා මං අහන්නේ
මේ රටේ අහිංසක ජනතාවට තියෙන අවසාන තැන නතර කරන්න මේ ඔක්කොම කතා කරමු.
All those who spoke here said that the people should not go to the hospitals as that is where they will die. Do not engage in such low acts, opposition leader. This is pathetic. Do not deprive the people of their opportunities for your petty and narrow political needs. They are waiting for people to die and to use those corpses. This is a parliament where MPs wanted permission to carry a corpse in Potupitiya down the streets.
අවසර ඉල්ලපො කාලකන්ණි දේශපාලකයෝ ඉන්න පාර්ලිමේන්තුවක් මේක. මේ වාඩි වෙන්නකෝ. වාඩි වෙන්න දවස් තුනක් කතා කරලා මොන බම්බුවක් ගහනවද නැ. වාඩි වෙන්න. වාඩි වෙන්න. බම්බුව. අයියා. දැන් මගුලන්ද මේ. කච්ච ගහන්න ඕන කරයන්. හරි. වෙනසා
දැන් ඉවරයි.
නෑ එහෙම දෙන්න බෑ. මමයි I'm on my feet.
හරි.
I'm on my feet.
දැන් අවසන් කරන්න.
ඡන්ද ගමුයි කියනවා.
හරි. කොහොම විශ්වදී
Now, is Sri Lanka making decisions based on priorities? Let the following report answer that question.
This is the Buddha Jayanti Primary School in Hakmana Matara in the south of Sri Lanka, and it provides education to more than 500 students with many dreams they want to achieve. Yet, this is how the students from grade 1 to 5 study in their classrooms during a downpour. This main building contains 5 classrooms. Not only is the roof in a dilapidated state, but its current state is extremely dangerous.
කොයි හරි වෙලාවක මේ වහල කඩාගෙන දරුවන්ගේ ඔළුවට වැටෙන්න ඉඩ තියෙනවා. එහෙම වුණොතින් දරුවන්ගේ ජීවිත සම්බන්ධව කවුද වග කියන්නේ කියන ගැටලුව අපිට තියෙනවා.
දරුවෝ තෙමෙන කුඩ ඉහළගෙන බේසන් තියාගෙන තමයි දරුවෝ ඉගෙන ගන්න. කිසිම පහසුකමක් නැහැ. මේ දරුවෝ අන්ත අසරණ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
This under construction building is the latest addition to the school and it is nearing completion. However, the question is, why is it not open to the students? That is why we question whether Sri Lanka is making decisions by identifying priorities. Shouldn't measures be taken to move these students into the new building soon?
Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe has appointed a defence review team led by Major General Channa Gunatilaka, retired, and the President's Media Division said that the Defence Review Committee will cover the areas of defence until 2030.
Sri Lanka's commitment to safeguarding its freedom and sovereignty has been reaffirmed with the release of the Defence Review 2030 by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. The President proposed the Defence Review 2030 at the recent cabinet meeting. Given this evolving landscape, the Defence Review 2030 serves as a crucial step to adapt Sri Lanka's defence policy. The review not only analyzes the current regional challenges but also outlines a roadmap for the future encompassing both the immediate future and steps beyond 2030. To spearhead this endeavour, President Wickremesinghe has appointed a distinguished review team comprising Major General Channa Gunatilaka as chairman, Rear Admiral J.J. Ranasinghe, Major General P.R. Vanigasuriya, Air Vice Marshal Andrew Vijay Surya, Ms. Sasikala Premawardana from the Sri Lanka Foreign Service and Mr. Daniel Alphonsus as advisor for finance and economic stabilization. The group will receive support from active duty military personnel, foreign service officers, treasury officials and experts in relevant fields.
The leaders of the political parties represented in the Sri Lankan Parliament have decided to hold an adjournment motion debate on the Easter Sunday terror attacks and national security. The debate will take place on the 21st and the 22nd of September 2023. The recent video by Channel 4 on the Easter Sunday terror attacks was raised in Parliament once again today.
Do we need international advice to act on one of the most brutal terrorist attacks that took place inside our country? The division here is between the group that wants to know the truth and the group that wants to cover up the truth. Shani Abesekara, who properly investigated the Easter Sunday attacks, was imprisoned. Therefore, instead of putting a leash on him, hand over the investigation to him. The president also placed his faith in this officer. So I request that he hand over the inquiry to that officer. Why can't you do that? All the detectives who were investigating the Easter Sunday attacks were transferred after Gotabaya Rajapaksa was elected as president. At the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, something that had never happened elsewhere in the world was revealed. That is an intelligence officer visiting the police station and demanding the release of the bomber known as Jamil, citing that he was one of them. This is mentioned in the report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. Some are attempting to spread views to ruin the faith placed in the judiciary. That is a very serious allegation. We need to uncover who is behind this. This is also a time that we need to think on what these groups want by ruining the executive, legislature and judiciary as well as the armed forces. Channel 4 spoke about the Tripoli platoon. This group was responsible for the killing of Lasantha Wickrematunge, and the present president also spoke about the Tripoli platoon in 2020. Azad Maulana was part of the Tripoli platoon. Therefore, it is a serious fact to note that the Tripoli platoon was in fact led by a person who is currently representing Parliament. It was MP Pillayan who gave leadership to the Tripoli platoon. It is said that this movement is still functioning. A serious allegation is made against the Chief of Intelligence, Saleh. A protest took place opposite the UK High Commission in Colombo. This protest was also organised by intelligence personnel. Saleh needs to be suspended from service and an investigation needs to take place. Manusha Nanayakara and Harin Fernando are government ministers. They are now with the government. They are the ones who created the story about Sonic. In addition, they also created the story on Abu Hind. The confidential report is now exposed. Ranjan Hool in the book claims a link with the State Intelligence Service. We see a debate on this. I also request for sufficient time to provide these with evidence during the debate.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna expressed the following views. This is very brutal. If anyone has information on those who aided in the Easter Sunday terror attacks, submit the information. However, when the CID summons them, they became afraid. Then they call someone in government and say that they did not say such things on purpose. These people are slaves. The courts have already remanded certain people. We cannot have a jungle law. The laws of the country need to be implemented. If someone assumes that these acts will disrupt the journey of the SLPP and Mahinda Rajapaksha, they are wrong. Such acts are foolish. When an election is held, the people will show who they are with.
Meanwhile, Minister of Justice Vijayadasa Rajapaksa responded to a statement made by TNA MP Shanakin Rasamanikam in Parliament yesterday.
Recently, a voice recording has been released. I will table this in Parliament if there is a way to do that. In this voice recording of Azad Maulana, it says that with regard to releasing Pillayan, former Deputy Solicitor General, Madhava Tennakon and the Attorney General Dappula Dilivera had both said that Pillayan cannot be released as the CID has a lot of evidence. Then there was a judge called Izzadeen in Batiklo, and he was the one who heard the case of Pillayan. He said that he cannot give an order against that. Then he was removed and a Catholic named Suicide Asan was appointed. A Catholic was appointed because they thought that it would be better if the decision was given by a Catholic. This is said to be done by Justice Nawaz. The people who are connected with this incident are said to be Justice Devika and Justice Benagappuli. This is a serious allegation. When you were the minister in charge of justice, there is an allegation that you changed the judges to bring this murderer named Pillayan out of prison. A serious voice recording has been released, and former Minister of Justice, your name is also included in this. So if you can please clarify these matters to Sri Lanka, because there is a serious issue regarding the independence of the justice system in Sri Lanka. These have not yet been released in Channel 4, but in the future such details will be released. I believe that it would be better if you could clarify this matter.
මේ චෝදනාවත් එක්ක අපේ රටේ අධිකරණ පද්ධතිය පිළිබඳව ජනතාවගේ තිබෙන විශ්වාසය.
This allegation has resulted in the faith placed by the people of Sri Lanka in the justice system to break down. The case regarding the murder of a member of parliament was heard in Batiklo, and the judgment has been issued against 6 people. A voir dire inquiry was held. When a confession is made, the procedure followed by the high courts of Sri Lanka involved conducting a hearing as to if the confessions are admissible. It was 2 other accused in this matter, and not Pillayan, who filed 2 revision applications to the Court of Appeal. There are 2 benches in the Court of Appeal to hear criminal matters. This matter came up before one of those 2 benches. These 2 cases came before the bench aired by Justice Priyantha Fernando. He recused himself, citing a personal reason. He had forwarded this to the President of the Court of Appeal. The Honorable Nawaz was the President of the Court of Appeal at that time. This justice did not hear this matter. There is another bench allocated to hear criminal matters. That bench consisted of Justice Singappuli, who is currently a Supreme Court Justice, and Justice Devika Aberatna. When this matter was referred to that bench, it had ruled on the validity of that confession and said that this confession is not admissible. After this order was sent to the High Court, I saw former Attorney General Dappula Dilivera and Madhava Tennakone from the Attorney General's department were engaged in some conspiracy. The then Attorney General Dappula Dilivera had asked Madhava Tennakone, who prosecuted the case, besides this case, is there any evidence to continue this case against the accused? He had examined the matter and given his opinion that there is no other evidence besides the confession. After the confession was deemed inadmissible by the Court of Appeal, it had not been appealed to the Supreme Court, and then when there is no other evidence before the High Court besides the confession, despite who is prosecuting the case, be it the then Attorney General Dappula Dilivera or the current Attorney General Sanjay Rajaratnam, they have no option but to withdraw the case. There has not been any irregularity in these legal proceedings.
නඩු කටයුතු වලදී කිසිදු ආකාරයක අක්‍රමිකතාවයක් සිදු වෙලා නැහැ.
මම කිව්වේ ඩප්පුල ඩිලිවේරා හිටපු අටර්නි ජෙනරල් සහ මාධව.
What I said was that the former Attorney General Dappula Dilivera and Madhava Tennakone did not want to release Pillayan. Media has reported that these changes were made so that he can be forcibly released. You should listen to that as well. This says that it was done by the former lawyer of Gotabe, former Minister of Justice Ali Sabri. Also, the Tripoli platoon was in operations since 2005. Also, the Tripoli platoon was in operation since 2005. There was a person called Faiz from Kathankudi, a person called Samar in Eravur, and a person called Khalil in Ottamaru. Khalil was a suspect in the murder of the Joseph Pararajasingham along with Pillayan. Many people in Kathankudi and Batiklo were killed by this Tripoli platoon. There is not a single report presented with regard to this matter in the Presidential Commission report. Pillayan, who couldn't even secure 10,000 votes in 2015, chose to explode a bomb in the Batiklo district as he wanted to come into power again. Why did they choose a free church instead of a Roman Catholic church in Batiklo? That is because there are many people in Batiklo who go to these free churches. This person called Pillayan needs to come out of jail and then come into parliament. That is the reason why they chose Batiklo. The murder of Lasantha Wickramatunge, the murder of Pradeep Eknaligoda, and matters surrounding Keith Noya and Tambaya. There is a lot of information on the people murdered by this group. The Minister of Justice should conduct a proper investigation into this matter instead of talking to me here.
අද නීතිය පිළිබඳ ඇමතුමා එළියලා මට කතා කරන්න නැතුව මේ තොරතුරු ගැන විධිමත් පරීක්ෂණයක් කරන්න ඕන කියන තමයි මේ අවස්ථාවේ කියන්නේ.
The People's Lawyers Movement visited the Criminal Investigations Department on Friday evening to file a complaint seeking an investigation on the comments made by MP Shanakyan Rasamanikam on the remarks made by Azad Maulana. United Human Rights Protection Movement visited the Criminal Investigations Department on Friday morning to request for a proper local investigation on the Easter Sunday terror attacks and to serve justice.
The statement from Gotabaya Rajapaksa on Thursday claims that he did not have any contact with Saleh from 2015 to 2019, but he had contact with the extremists. The CID can now detain Pillayan and Saleh and conduct an immediate investigation.
News first with the people.
Celebrating the giver of good, showing his eternal light on us all, God Murugan. The Nallur Cultural Festival will be telecast live from Jaffna on Shakti TV from the 11th to the 13th of September. Tune in to Shakti TV to witness the vibrant Nallur Festival and let the showers of God Murugan's blessings touch us all.
Shakti TV. Desatin Shakti.
Welcome back. The Inland Revenue Amendment Act that includes certain actions to be taken under the Domestic Debt Optimization Program was passed in Parliament yesterday. The main proposal included in the act was to impose a 30% tax on superannuation funds, including the EPF and the ETF, if they do not agree to reissue treasury bonds.
What is going to happen under the Domestic Debt Optimization Program? Under the Domestic Debt Optimization Program, it has been proposed to reissue all treasury bonds purchased by superannuation funds like the EPF and the ETF. The bonds are to be reissued at an interest rate of 12% for 2 years and 9% thereafter. Superannuation funds that do not agree to this proposal will be taxed at 30% on the income that they earn through bonds. Although the bonds were to be reissued on the 28th of last month, this was postponed to the 11th of this month as the bill was challenged before the Supreme Court. The determination of the Supreme Court was informed to Parliament, and it had stated that the proposed bill can be passed with a simple majority in Parliament. The President then attended Parliament the day before yesterday and asked for the bill to be passed before Saturday. Thereby, this bill was passed in Parliament yesterday. But before this was tabled in Parliament, the Committee on Public Finance had discussed and approved it. Here are some matters that were revealed during the hearings of the Committee on Public Finance yesterday.
This 30% tax is being imposed on the income earned by these superannuation funds from treasury bonds. The rest will continue to be taxed at 14%. The Act has proposed to continue the rate at 14% until the end of this month, and if they are not opting to the auction under the DDO, then the treasury bond income will be taxed at 30%. It is said that 9% will be given from 2026 to 2038. Where has it been guaranteed that 9% interest will be given to the treasury bonds from 2026 to 2038?
ඒක බොන්ඩ් එක ඉෂුව කරනකොට මේ විදියට කූපන් එකත් එක්ක එහෙම තමයි ඉෂුව කරන්නේ. දැන් මේ 109 දෙන්නේ ෆන්ඩ් එකටද එහෙමත් නැත්නම් මෙම්බර්ටද? ඒ ආදායම ෆන්ඩ් එකට ලැබෙන්නේ. 109ක් ලැබුණොත් ෆන්ඩ් එකට මෙම්බර්ට කීයක් ලැබෙයිද? අඩුම වශයෙන්
In our calculations, subject to the assumption that an interest of 9% can be provided during the next 4 to 5 years, we have indicated the figures. The Inland Revenue Act is to be further changed, and if for any reason 9% cannot be provided, the Treasury will fill the gap. So there is a guarantee that more than 9% can be given during the next 4 years. We believe that more can be given according to the procedure that we are following.
The inaugural convention of the Labour Struggle Centre took place at the National Youth Services Council in Maharagama, and views were expressed on the domestic debt optimisation and its impact on provident funds.
The General Secretary of the Frontline Socialists Party, Kumar Gunaratnam, presided over the inaugural convention of the Labour Struggle Centre that was also attended by trade union, civil movements and activists.
We cannot wait for Ranil Wickremesinghe to declare elections. Ranil Wickremesinghe is showing the people the provincial council and the presidential elections. Certain leftist elements have started dancing to the tunes of Ranil Wickremesinghe. Some groups are already naming their candidates for the election that will take place in 1 year and 1 month. That is the assurance they are giving to proceed with this destructive journey. We need to form a strong center that will end this destructive journey. For that, we need all the trade unions and other movements to work together. We are prepared to make any sacrifice necessary for that.
Meanwhile, Colombo District Court issued an injunction order on Sarath Ekanayake, who was appointed as SLFP's General Secretary after Dasi Jayasekara's expulsion from serving in his new position. The order by District Judge Sandun Vitana was delivered upon considering an application filed by former SLFP General Secretary Dayasiri Jayasekara.
Parliamentarian Dayasiri Jayasekara filed an application with the Colombo District Group against the decision taken to remove him from the post of SLFP General Secretary. The Colombo District Court refused to issue an injunction preventing the implementation of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party's decision to oust its General Secretary MP Dayasiri Jayasekara from the party. Several injunction orders were requested, one with regard to the functions of the SLFP General Secretary and my party membership. The court has suspended the appointment of Sarath Ekanayake. It is said that an acting General Secretary cannot be appointed. The ruling said that the General Secretary and the acting General Secretary should be appointed by the Executive Council.
මම දන්නේ නැහැ මට තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ මොකද කරන්න දන්නේ කියලා. ඉතින් මේ පක්ෂය ගිහිල්ලා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයට හේතු කරන වැඩකට තමයි මේ යන්නේ කියලා මට තේරෙන්නේ.
Several SLFP seniors were present at the party head office in Colombo. A case was filed against the expulsion from the party. The party will continue to function. We will appoint a new General Secretary next week.
ලේකම් කෙනෙක් පත් කරගෙන ඒ විදිහට වැඩ කරගෙන යනවා මේ ඒවා කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. කැලි ගැලවිලා කියොත් මේ පක්ෂේ නැති නේද? නෑ නෑ එහෙම කැලි ගැලවෙන්නේ නැහැ. කැලි ගැලවෙන්නේ නැහැ. හැමදාම ඡන්දයක් ගන්න වෙනකොට ඉලක්ක දස් පක්ෂ කට්ටිය බෙදෙනවා නේ. නෑ ඉතින් මොන පක්ෂෙද බෙදිලා නැත්තේ දැන් හැම පක්ෂෙම කචල්නේ. රටත් කචල්, පක්ෂත් කචල්, ආණ්ඩුවත් කචල්.
The Sapparam and Ther festivals of the annual Nallur festival. Tune in to Shakti TV at 5 p.m. on the 12th of September to watch the live telecast of the Nallur Sapparam festival. Watch Shakti TV at 5:30 a.m. on the 13th of September to witness the Ther festival of the annual Nallur festival. Let the blessings of Lord Murugan shower across our nation.
Shakti TV. Desatin Shakti.
Medical, ICT and security equipment were handed over to the Department of Prisons today. The equipment were handed over by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime under the Global Maritime Crime Programme. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime's Global Maritime Crime Programme aims at strengthening the capacities of member states to build law enforcement to counter organized crime within the maritime domain and to tackle transnational maritime crime throughout the entire criminal justice chain that involves technical, material and infrastructural support to law enforcement, prosecution and detention. As part of its support to the government of Sri Lanka, Global Maritime Crime Programme of the UNODC initiated the pilot project improving the efficiency of the justice system in Sri Lanka, virtual trials and mobile courts in 2021, which aims to establish and operationalize virtual courts in the southern province.
Sri Lanka, unfortunately, like many other countries, is not new to health emergencies or virtual hearings to enable justice to continue its course within prison set. The advance made both at policy level, legal provisions, and of course, naturally, the practical arrangements to materialize those legal provisions give us the hope to continue this journey together with the prison department to ensure quality, transparent and efficient service delivery together with us, and of course today is a symbolic, another gesture of our joint journey. We will provide medical technology and informational and communication technologies to the prison administration. UNODC would like to continue this support to improve access to health and obviously access to justice in prison settings. And of course we encourage also the government analyst department to increase the availability, the accuracy of data and scientific based evidence to enable the prison department to try to collectively reduce overcrowding.
We are very keen to establish the new technology to the Department of Prisons. Under the Ministry of Justice, they are very much keen to introduce the virtual courts. In down south, we are ready to function the court function through the video technology.
Through this, UNODC Global Maritime Crime Program can support the Department of Prisons to carry out virtual hearings and effective prosecution of cases, thereby reducing the congestion in the prisons. During the ceremony held on Friday, medical, ICT and security equipment were handed over to the Department of Prisons.
Fitch Ratings has rated Sri Lanka's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating at restricted default or RD.
Rating stated that Sri Lanka's reserve levels will influence the rating only once it has been moved out of RD. Despite an increase in reserves over the last 9 months to around $3.8 billion in July 2023, Sri Lanka remains well below the $7.3 billion average over 2014 to 2019. The statement added that despite an increase in reserves over the last 9 months to around $3.8 billion in July 2023, Sri Lanka remains well below the $7.3 billion average over 2014 to 2019. Fitch Ratings made the observation in a statement issued on the reserve dynamics among APAC sovereigns. It said that reserve dynamics among APAC sovereigns appear to be diverging, with potential implications for their credit profiles.
Sri Lanka's Consumer Affairs Authority has instructed its officials to crack down on traders who sell rice at higher prices.
A person is convicted in a relation to a case of selling rice at high prices. The court can impose a fine of 100,000 rupees to 500,000 rupees or 6 months imprisonment for a single business or both. The court could also impose a minimum fine of 500,000 rupees to a maximum of 5 million rupees on a private company depending on the severity of the offence. Consumers are requested to contact the CAA hotline 1977 about traders selling rice at higher prices. Consumers claim that the rice is being sold at high prices across several areas.
කඩේ හැමතැනම බැලුවා නෑ කිරිසම්බා.
පාලන මිල 260යි කිව්වට රුපියල් 300ට ගන්නත් නෑ. ඉතින් මේකට රජය තමයි වක් කියන්න ඕනේ. මෝල් හිමියන්ට ඕන විදියට තමයි ඒ මිල ගණන් වලට තමයි දැන් විකුණන්නේ මේ කඩවලට විකුණන්න වෙලා.
Kiri Samba and Nadu rice were not available at any retail outlet in the Mathura town.
Kiri Samba සමාදල ගොඩක් අඩුයි. ඒක තිබ්බනම් හොඳයි. පැඩි මිලට නෑ. හාල් එක තිබ්බනම් හොඳයි.
The All Ceylon Essential Wholesale and Retail Traders Association expressed the following views.
ලංකාවින ප්‍රධාන සහල් මෝල් හිමියන්ගෙන් මේ හාල් ලැබෙනකොට
a kilogram of kiri samba is sold by mill owners for a price between 290 rupees to 300 rupees. The government wants us to sell rice at 260 rupees per kilogram. Either the mill owners are insane or the government minister is insane. This needs to be controlled from the production center.
එන තනින් තමයි මේක මං හිතන්නේ පාලනය කරගන්න පුළුවන්.
The National Consumers Front expressed the following views.
The kiri samba shortage is a man-made one. There is no shortage of kiri samba. However, there is a shortage of commissions given to the top positions. However, they have created a rice shortage. When there is a shortage, they will try to import several shipments of rice so that the top positions can go overseas with their families during the holidays. Apart from that, there is no issue.
Political and Trade Councillor of the High Commission of Canada, Daniel Boot, visited the Jaffna Public Library today.
Political and Trade Councillor of the High Commission of Canada, Daniel Bood, was welcomed by Jaffna City Commissioner Thanabala Singham Jayaseelan. Speaking to the media, Daniel Bood said the Toronto Municipal Library is in discussion with the Jaffna Library for the donation of books.
The city of Toronto and the city of Jaffna are twinned, and that twinning agreement is ongoing. And so as part of that, the Toronto City Library, the Toronto Municipal Library, has been in discussion about making a donation of books and finding out how we could arrange all that and what the needs are. So that was part of the objective of our visit today, was to chat about the needs of the library and how maybe we could help through the Toronto City Library. So that work is ongoing, and we'll see what can be done.
In more local news, Isai in Painkiller, a musical extravaganza sponsored by Sri Lanka's premier Tamil media channel, Shakti TV, will be held tomorrow at the Sugatadasa Indoor Stadium in Colombo.
Isai Enum Painkiller, which means music is the painkiller, is slated to be one of the biggest musical concerts in Sri Lanka this year. The concert will feature the likes of all-time favorite South Indian playback singers such as Srinivas, Sweta Mohan, Unni Menon, Chaindavi and Vijay Prakash. A discussion regarding the concert was held today. Isai Enum Painkiller is sponsored by Sri Lanka's best Tamil media channel, Shakti TV, and is all set to take Sri Lanka by storm tomorrow. Be there to witness the experience of a lifetime at the Sugatadasa Indoor Stadium in Colombo.
The Enough campaign solidarity event to combat child hunger was held in Colombo today.
The Enough campaign solidarity event organized by World Vision Lanka served as the launch event for a bold new national campaign that will focus on raising awareness, fostering cooperation and advocating for policies to combat child hunger and malnutrition. The event was held parallel to the global campaign on child hunger and malnutrition, which will be launched at the United Nations General Assembly on the 20th of September in New York.
Right now, the hunger levels, child hunger levels, are the worst that they have been for generations, I believe, since our time of independence. As I said, because of conflict, climate change, and the post-COVID economy struggling to survive and to recover. And following the pandemic and the economic crisis that we experienced last year, many families in Sri Lanka have been forced to reduce the number of meals they take for a day, or at least to reduce the portions of the meal, or sometimes to reduce on vital ingredients that go into their normal meals. Article 24 of the UN Rights of the Child clearly states that the fundamental need for children to be well nourished no matter where they live or whatever the crisis they face. And we also know that food is a basic right for all human beings, and every child deserves the food that he or she requires, and in order to develop a healthy mind and a healthy body. The impact of this crisis that we are facing today might really be seen only in about 15-20 years when these children reach adulthood.
World Vision launched this campaign to rally governments, peer organizations and like-minded entities and the public to act towards ending child hunger. World Vision has already pledged $3.5 billion in the next 3 years towards this cause.
Day 18 of the second leg of the LOLC Divisavya program got underway, centering schools in the Kabithigolev education zone of the Anuradhapura district.
The Divisavya program is a collaboration between the LOLC group and the Ministry of Education. School books and stationery items were distributed to the students of 18 schools at the Kabithigolava Zonal Education Office this morning. Students from schools including Kirimatiyava Vidyalaya, Ayatigevava Vidyalaya, Ataviragolava Vidyalaya and Dharmashoka Vidyalaya were also gifted school books and stationery items this morning. The LOLC Divisavya program will continue to create a bright future for the country's student population.
The excitement of the Men's Rugby World Cup is indeed upon us. 4 years after the last one, and the coveted Webb Ellis Cup is the prize. France, which previously staged the Rugby World Cup in 2007, is once again the host, and the tournament will be played at 9 stadiums across France.
Rugby fans are in for a real treat over the next several weeks as they get to watch the scintillating action of the Rugby World Cup, which kicks off tonight in Paris as host France face New Zealand at the Stade de France. MTV Channel Private Limited is the official broadcast rights holder in Sri Lanka and is proud to bring you the action of the twists and turns of the drama of every match. The tournament is being broadcast live on TV1 and streamed live on www.sirasatv.lk. It will mark the first of 48 games taking place at 9 venues across France, with the tournament concluding with the final at the same stadium in Paris on the 28th of October. A total of 20 teams have qualified for this year's Rugby World Cup, and they will compete in 4 pools of 5 teams each. Many of the nations competing are tournament regulars. Each country plays the other team in its pool. The 2 top teams from each pool then qualify for the quarterfinals and compete in the knockout format. Sri Lanka rugby fans can watch all the action on TV1 and on www.sirasatv.lk.
The Asia Cup 2023 is being successfully jointly hosted by Sri Lanka and Pakistan as fans are witnessing riveting cricketing action in the continental tournament.
Indian skipper Rohit Sharma made the day of one such fan from Sri Lanka by visiting his home.
Indian skipper Rohit Sharma made a visit to famous Sri Lankan cricket fan Percy Abesekara at his home in Ekala upon a request from another Sri Lankan fan, Gayan Senanayaka. The heartwarming moment has gone viral all over social media as fans are loving the kind gesture of the Indian skipper. In the viral video, Rohit can be seen talking about the upcoming India vs Pakistan Super 4 game at the R. Premadasa Stadium, Colombo on the 10th of September. He further told Percy about the earlier drawn game between the 2 teams in Pallekele and also told him that he is greatly missed at the ground.
And with that, wrap up primetime news for tonight.
For all these stories and much more, you can visit our website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. Thank you for watching. Good night.